It's 8:30, we'll call the meeting to order. First order is adoption of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Everyone had a chance to peruse the minutes from the previous meeting?
Move we approve the minutes from the previous meeting as presented. Second.
Motion and seconds to approve the meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Mayor, good morning.
Morning.
You have anything for the board?
No.
Good to see you. Glad
Just
you're
hanging
here.
out.
All right. We'll move right on into reports. Eric, good morning.
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 I do have an action item this morning. There's a budgeted item. So located at the front end of our two sludge holding pads, our trench drains, and they collect any of the rain runoff that's being out of the sludge that's being stored there. There have been multiple times where heavy rains have create runoff that causes sludge to travel over the drains into the road. The size of the drains needs to be wider to prevent any runoff. It was brought up as a concern at a previous DNR inspection. We will use in-house labor and equipment to do that. So motion to approve the sludge pad trench drain expansion project.
How big is that drain now?
It is about a foot wide now, and then it runs the length of the pad.
Okay.
And I'm wanting to go, I believe it was 32 inches wide. I mean, the
That's
grates
plenty
that I
big
was
to
looking
catch
at.
it.
How deep is
It was 8, 10 inches maybe.
It's not very deep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a storm drain that just
Yeah.
catches that runoff and then it drains back into the headworks plant. Or actually, I think it goes into the sewer and then back. Pipe's not very big either, I think.
No, it's a pretty small pipe.
Plugged up several times.
How long ago was the DNR inspection?
I believe that inspection was 21 was the last one we had. It was brought up on that one.
It was after the
No.
flood, I think.
Yeah, it was after the
It was
flood.
after the flood. Well, the inspection wasn't very timely.
Yeah.
So it's fairly recent inspection.
Oh, sorry, I'm a little congested still. Didn't know, how long ago. I haven't heard of this yet, so I was wondering how long it didn't get presented. It's taken care of.
Yeah, it was placed in the budget last year, DNR brought it up, it was identified, and wasn't any warnings or anything given, they just said you need to fix it.
Fixes.
Right.
Is it big enough?
Not right now.
I mean, will it be big enough?
Yeah, I believe that would be plenty big enough.
Depends on whether we get a 13-inch rain or not.
What's that?
We don't.
Well, you wait a second. We're gonna have a drought this year, but we're gonna have floods.
There's always gonna be that one rain.
Yeah. One screws it
I move to approve the sludge pad trench drain expansion project.
Second.
up. A motion and a second to approve the sludge pad trench drain expansion project. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign.
Thank you. And then the only other really update I have is we were working on spreading the biosolids so that the pads are clean. So we're all caught up on that. And
Good.
other than that, I'll answer any other questions you guys have.
You get the pump one repair done, or?
I have not got the quote back on that yet. So I'm still waiting on them to get back with me on
Got
that.
spares up there?
They have a spare at FTC right now that I'll probably get it back before they get this one repaired, and then we can put it right back in the hole. So,
How's all the new system working? Everything doing good?
yeah, it's doing real well now.
Okay.
Our numbers are really well. Like our ammonia numbers are next to nothing. Phosphorus is doing really well.
I think it's improved our nutrient removal.
Yeah.
Kind of back to those pumps, I don't know, you guys, we were down to 2 pumps at one time. We've got 5 installed working, 2 out or 6 total, so once we get these 2 back, we'll have the 6 filled and 1 spare, so.
Okay.
we're in pretty good shape right now with 5. We've been down to as low as 2. So
Yeah.
we're kind of gradually getting where we need to be. Part of that was those dry flow side and peak flow side had different pumping sizes, and they weren't sized correctly initially, and now all 6 pumps are the same size on the dry flow and peak flow side.
So once we get them all in, so we're gonna have one spare on the shelf.
We'll have one spare on the shelf. Yeah, when the pumps were too big, they were cycling, they pumped down too quick. You know, even on the VFD, you couldn't slow them down enough. Cycling the pumps was burning them up. So
Mhm.
I think we'll probably be as good as we've been since that was put in, once, you know, all the pumps are back.
What about our UV lights? They going good?
No change. A couple of the modules we're probably need to replace the circuit board, but they run by default when the circuit board's not communicating. So
Fail safe.
yeah,
There will be a budgeted item. Those need some work. I think Jim's helped work with Eric to just kind of get us through this season. They were all on. I think you've got them now where at least we're not burning.
Is it like, is it after this season, after we're done with them, can we look at doing something different there?
We're gonna have to have UV. I don't know if there's a better system. I don't know.
I guess that's what I was asking. At what point in time do you quit throwing good money at that?
No, you're right. That's probably something we'll evaluate when we look at it. But it's the wipers have been cut off and removed to clean the bulbs. I mean, when I hear Jim say proprietary, you know, you get into this stuff and you're pretty much tied to whoever you bought it from. I'm sure Chuck's probably seen that in Conagra stuff. We were talking with Jeff Barner with Burns and McDonald. Of course, they install systems all over the place, so we may consult with him, see if there's some systems that work better for other people. This one, I don't know, is working great.
there's really not a whole lot to the process. It's just turn on a bulb, make sure it's on, look at the UV intensity. Most of the proprietary stuff is trying to consolidate the communications, and so you don't have one wire for every bulb.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do one wire for every bulb, it'd be pretty simple to fix, just be a lot more wires.
Yeah. I just wonder, you know, I know you're busy, This has been an ongoing thing. Is there something we can do to kind of get it off your own plate and get you working beyond that?
We're chipping away at those things. And I think the bulbs have a certain number of hours, and replacing those bulbs is like $30,000.
Yeah.
We're needing to replace them. But
Before we throw that money in there.
We want to get through this season and not just buy new bulbs and plug them in the system or something. We'll look at some options. Eric's going to have fun his first year working on a budget.
Any other questions for Eric? Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Eric.
I don't see Grant.
That's not
What's going on?
Not much, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I have 2 action items today. The first one is for a water service on North Highway 65 for Ag Power has requested a new 2-inch water service and a 6-inch fire line tap for new construction. The site is outside of city limits and it has been released by Saline County Public Water Supply District Number 3. Ag Power is willing to pay all the materials and equipment cost. My recommendation is a motion to approve the request to install a new 2-inch water service and a 6-inch fire line tap at 24268 North Highway 65 for Ag Power.
This way, at this point, all their water services would be under MMU, their existing building that they have now.
Correct, yeah, the new one they're building just north of the old
Yeah.
one, it's just barely outside the city limits there.
But they'll still have separate electric services.
Right. New facilities.
Evergy.
Evergy.
Yeah. I would make a motion to approve the request to install a new 2-inch water service and a 6-inch fire line tap at 24268 North Highway 65 for Ag Power.
Second.
With a motion and a second to approve the request to install a new 2-inch water service and a 6-inch fire line tap, 24268 North Highway 65 for Ag Power. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
And the second item I have is for the 2023 cured in place pipe project. We budgeted $150,000 for the project. We received 5 bids. And my recommendation is a motion to accept the bid from Fisher Sewer of Missouri to rehab approximately 4,285 feet of 8-inch sewer main using the CIPP method for a total cost of $164,972.50.
Is there a, when we budgeted this, I'm assuming everything's gone up since we did it?
It's a department budget within,
But we'll use money out of the I&I fund, the 24,000 every month that goes in there. Yeah, so that should be fine.
Where is this located? Where did I do the work?
I believe it's on the north part of town, kind of the older mains and stuff like that in town.
I think we've used that Visa server.
Yeah, we've
before,
used
haven't
those a
we?
couple times, yeah, they seem to do pretty good work.
And just kind of back up on the budget, Chuck, we used to budget $300,000 a year for CIPP, which was our effort towards reducing I&I. Last year, we split that up, so there's $150 that we spent for the sanitary sewer flow study, and then some of that for I&I. Well, this year, we've got this project, and then we've got the smoke testing. So if you combine the two, we're still below the $300,000. That's why it all comes out of the I&I fund. I mean, this is like for a committed budget, but overall, when you look at that pool of money that we have for I&I, we're still within budget.
Okay.
Like on next year's budget though, do we need to go increase
Yeah,
that part?
that's the struggle now with everything.
Mhm.
So,
And the other thing I've wondered is, well, what if you go to these companies and say, you know, our budget's $150,000, how much can you do? And then compare that and see which vendor is willing to do does most.
yeah, you got a per foot cost there, that's something where maybe
Yeah.
you could eliminate a section to stay within, they could give you your budget per foot.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're at, you know, sometimes there's a threshold, they want to, you know, if it's just a short footage, it's gonna cost you more per foot, so if you decrease it, you know, I don't know what point that's at, but that's certainly something we can look at.
We got plenty in there to cover this. I mean, you're
Yeah,
right.
so-
Yeah, it sounds like we're in good shape on this.
Yeah, and it's been a great project, and the treatment plant is shown that this stuff works.
We're getting it to you quick, man.
I make a motion to accept the bid from Fisher Sewer of Missouri to rehab approximately 4,285 feet of 8-inch sewer main using the CIPP method for a total cost of $164,972.50.
Second that.
Got a motion and a second to accept the bid from Fisher Sewer of Missouri to rehab approximately 4,285 feet of 8-inch sewer main using CIPP method for a total cost of $164,972.50. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Other than that, we've been doing some main break repairs on West Morgan Street, South Odell Avenue, Benton Avenue, Porter Street, Brunswick Avenue, and High Street. Repaired a fire hydrant that was struck by a vehicle at the intersection of Salt Pond and Vest. Also working on mailers to get out to customers for the lead and copper service inventory line. And been assisting the wastewater treatment plant with the hoist truck. And that's all I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Assuming it's just so dry that our lines are breaking.
Yeah.
Maybe ain't better either.
No.
So how the hell
They're getting, I'd say they're probably half to 2/3 of the way done with that project.
Is that going as well as the other section farther east there?
To Benton Street there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And don't see as many, because that other one did, where it seemed like we were cutting phone lines all the time. I don't see those
the
showing
one in
up.
the alley there going
So maybe
between
there's
Odell
not.
and Jefferson, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems with that project, cave offs
Yeah.
and stuff like that, yeah. Yeah, this one's going pretty quick for them.
All these main breaks, does the crown just shift?
Being so dry.
Being so dry,
yeah.
that's what's causing.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Can't do anything about the rain.
No, wish you could. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
Do have one action item, having the budget $60,000 for a covered storage building. Printed out a little picture there of where we're thinking about putting it there on the west end of the warehouse. Ken was asking why we don't put it up against the building. There's some ventilation fans on the west end right now, so we're probably gonna keep it separate enough to let that air keep flowing through there. If you look at it now, there's a trailer over there that's parked east-west. We could probably turn that north-south there and park that in between where the building, existing building, new building will be. So there's a little bit of slope to it, but not very much. We got estimate a year ago for $37,000. I'm sure that's probably gone up like everything else. And my plate's pretty full right now, so I'm just trying to get this approved so we can work on it as I have time. But,
Is that big enough to carry all your stuff?
it depends on what you consider all my stuff. I think James at the warehouse would like it bigger so he could put more deliverables in there and get them out of his warehouse.
And James got enough room.
Yeah. It's enough to get the big truck and trailer, big plow, and our other truck. Everything that's outside right now, it's enough to get that in there. And there might be some stuff we have in the garage now that might be moved outside. But Doug's got another backyard machine and trailer coming. Hopefully would have been here by now, but it's not, so.
I guess that's my worry, is it big enough for the growth? Because I don't want to put one up and then
Yeah.
2 years have to go put another one.
Yeah, it's, part of this is kind of looking forward towards a new admin building that's in Tony's budget for 3 or 4 years down the road. If that happens, then we would probably consolidate the internet department, so half of them not out here and half of them uptown. So we would probably look at taking care of all those needs then. And then this building would just be turned over to Grant for, he's still got water storage building over at the power plant that he's got stuff he'd probably like to get out here, so. So for me, it's just trying to get me by for 3 years, and by that time, the grant's gonna be mostly over, and will we still be expanding by then or not? Hopefully, we'll be downsizing by then, but.
Mhm.
So that's partly why I'm not putting any concrete in there right now. I'll let Grant do that whenever he takes over, if he does, or whatever.
Would we do any of the work in-house, or is it all?
I would probably try to work with Grant on doing concrete footings or whatever concrete prep work is necessary. And so we'll just do the footing part and make it so we can pour a pad inside later, but not actually do that right now. So any of those footings and whatever else, we would probably try to do that in-house unless the bid is so compelling that.
So you leave the rest of that for Grant when he takes over the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from this, I'm not quite sure how the peak of the roof would be, but if you were gonna add on, would you add to the south or would you go to the west?
That building would probably not be expanded at all, but if it was, it would probably have to go to the south.
Okay.
And if you look at the picture there, the warehouse looks wider, but a lot of that is the overhang. So the actual physical building is about basically the same size as the existing warehouse. But I'm thinking I might need to go a little bit more than 72 just to give me a little bit more room in front and back. So it might end up being 75 or 80 by the time we're all said and done.
So we're just requesting bids.
Yeah. Like I said, it might take me a little while to get the bids done, so.
I'd make a motion to approve requesting bids for a covered storage building.
Second?
With motion and second to approve requesting bids for a covered storage building. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. We do have all the fiber pulled for round one. There's a couple spots left to splice. I think they were working on the south end there on YY yesterday. They've got most of what was left on 65 done. So hopefully by the end of next week, we'll be done with round one, except for the paperwork. We did get an email from our USDA representative, and they're planning on being here in town middle of July to have a little meeting and a little walkthrough type thing. So we did get one pole done on round two, and they're working on a second one today. So hopefully have another mile in by the end of the day today. So moving right along. That's about all I've got, unless you got questions. We did have, Coleman did submit a payment request, and we did have two truckloads of conduit come in the week before last, so my disbursement's a little bit bigger than normal, but.
Coleman keeping up.
It's getting slower and slower as the ground's getting drier and drier. And I was hoping he'd be done with the first contract by now, but he's probably got 4 more miles left in the first contract, and then we'll be shipped into the second one here pretty quick.
Any other questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Doug, good morning.
Morning, Jim. Not much to add. Southeast Sub Transformer, we energized that and switched load. That project is thankfully coming to an end. We are right now concentrating on as-built drawings, getting our drawings edited and archived, so we can have those saved. Overhead to underground. They did complete the first project. I mailed letters for the second area. All easements signed. They're signed there. I think they're going to begin that project today. Pole inspectors arrived today to start the pole inspections. We have about 1,300 poles to inspect. It's going to take about 4 weeks. So they started that today. Other than that, that's all I've got. Unless you got any questions for me.
No, any questions for Doug? Thanks for keeping the lights on, man. Jared, good morning.
Morning. Cummins was down on the 15th and looked at the heat incentive vibration. We got that taken care of. There was some adjustments in the governor they made. We ran it a couple times, but no issues after that. BHMG completed the E-shaft rice testing on June 15th on 10 and 11, and those both passed. I do not have the written report yet, but they did pass. Unit 6, on June 19th, we ran it around 6 p.m. The operator called me, said they'd heard some strange noises. I went in, there was definitely some noises coming from the turbine area. Went in and started to shut down, and before we got to that point, it got worse. We finally ended up doing an emergency shutdown. The noise sounded familiar to ones I'd heard before with the bleed valve issue, so we took the bleed valve all apart. Didn't really find a lot there. It was kind of dirty. Cleaned it all up. We checked several other things. We decided on the 21st to try it again. We basically had the same issue. We ended up doing an emergency shutdown that day also. I talked to Ethos, and just this morning I got an email from them that gave us a list of several other things they want us to check. They want some more information, and they want some past log sheets and some supposed to maybe have a conference call with them maybe later this afternoon, after I get them that information. And, see if we can't figure out where to go from here. So, hopefully we'll get something figured out there.
It's kind of an important one.
Yeah. It's probably supposed to be an opportune time. Working on transmitter, got that fixed on a day tank on Unit 11 that went bad. Got some new filters ordered for the generator on Unit 6.
Those are the ones that were obsolete.
They were, was able to find some that will fit right in place, to replace them. That's all I got, unless you got any questions.
No, try to get 6 back.
Working on it.
But we purchased a building to cover Unit 6, didn't
It covers the fogger.
Fogger.
For the intake on Unit 6, yes.
we? We bought the building, but we did the groundwork.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
No, I'm good with that then.
Year ago? Finished it last year.
That worked out pretty well.
Yes. Yep.
Can you kind of keep us up to date on that Unit 6? You know, if it gets back online, maybe send an email or something.
Sure. I don't think Jared slept since
Yeah.
that started.
So like you said, it's inopportune time.
It's a head scratcher. I was over there and they were looking at everything that I, that they should have. It's probably something simple. We're hoping that it just doesn't happen very often. So maybe bleed out. I think it's kind of where some of the fingers are pointing back.
Several of their recommendations involve the bleed valve, so we'll take it apart again and look at some more stuff that they're asking for.
Well, we got money in there for that, don't we? And you've made a reserve just for this stuff.
Yep.
So.
They just you guys had a hot path inspection
Yeah.
22 years ago, so we're thinking, it wouldn't make sense if it was actual turbine and the compressor part, then that was all inspected. I think
The noise comes and goes. It's not consistent, so I would think if it was a bearing or something
It's
mechanical,
not gonna
it would just go away.
Yeah, I know, I'll let you guys know how to.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Any other questions for Jerry? Thank you, Jerry. Travis, good morning.
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 Travis.
Morning. Don't really have anything else to add to the other what's in the packet, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Sounds like that buildup in that 9-degree elbow is gonna be helpful.
Oh, yeah, that
Get clean.
ought to help really well.
Good.
Which, still waiting on the flocculator repair on that one, so it's still out of service right now. Last I heard from them, they said probably gonna be pushed back till the end of July. There were some issues with the casting on the propeller and things like that and everything, but, so, they're telling me the end of July, so hopefully we can get that back up and going and then start rotating back through the basin again, so.
We get all your media filter stuff done. I noticed you didn't put it down here.
Yeah, I didn't put it down there. So,
He's hoping you'd forget.
I wasn't forgetting.
I have reached out to them multiple times. Can't get them on the phone, can't get emails back or anything. Because they were supposed to start this week from the last time I talked to them. We received a partial load of anthracite, so 8.5 bags. And it's like, is this it? Nothing else is showing up? Nothing. So I don't know.
There's a lot of material up there.
Oh yeah, there's
I was
There's
just
a
hoping
lot
to say
of-
it's done, and that's why you didn't put it down.
No, I wish.
You would've put it down there.
Yeah.
How often is this pipe cleaned or looked at or inspected or?
I'm not real sure. The way that company talked, they've done it once before, but it's been quite a few years ago. So I'm not real sure when the last time it was cleaned.
How expensive is that to inspect?
I'm trying to think what it would take them. Thinking to have it cleaned and everything, I'm thinking it's around 7,000, I believe, which that counts for mobilization and everything else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that sounds about right, because they had, Eric had them down, Ace was down at the headworks, they had to clean all that grid out, because those grid pumps hadn't worked in 2 years. It's about $7,000 a day, about their rate for the truck, mobilization. But they've got the equipment to do it. We've tried to do some of that in-house before with the smaller vacuum excavators, but it's not, they're made for potholing and in small areas.
And some things too, when that basin's out of service, they can actually take an access point loose on the draft tube in that basin, and they can actually see that elbow and everything there, so they can actually inspect it anytime they're cleaning it. And see if it's starting to build up again at that, and then see if we can either get it with our stuff, or if we're gonna have to get the whole line cleaned again.
Well, that was my reason I asked that question, is if it's not that expensive, then we ought to do it on a little more frequent basis so it doesn't build up quite so much.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were $20,000 or $30,000.
True.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it being cleaned before. It's been, my guess was, it's probably 10 years ago, at least, before Travis. It's, I think we've talked in both plans about recurring maintenance items like that.
Put it on like a 5-year PM or something.
Yeah,
Even if it's just 5 years.
Yeah, we've got some pumps at the wastewater. I think, Eric's gonna put those on a 5-year schedule to have rebuilt, similar to what we do at our water pumping stations. We regularly give, 40, 50 years out of pumps in the watering station by just doing maintenance on them.
Well, we got bearing sensors and any of that stuff on those pumps?
I don't think.
Vibration sensors or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
Any other questions for Travis? Thank you, Travis. Megan, good morning.
Morning, Meg.
I'm not gonna add anything to what's in your packet, but I'll be happy to answer questions.
Look like we got plenty of jobs.
We're close to getting some of those filled, so hopefully that list will start getting a little shorter.
Well, it's good to know at least there's a few people out there that.
Do you have any questions for Megan? Thank you, Megan. Thank you. Tony, good morning.
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 Not much there, been, started working on the budget. Got some projects set up for the grant too for Jim. Me and Myra did meet with Missouri Valley, Director of Missouri Valley. We're kind of trying to set up a better communication with them. I think we're gonna, after talking with them, we're gonna start having them in maybe once a quarter. Kind of talk to customer service staff about programs. There's a lot of programs we didn't know about that they're offering. They did have concerns that they're running out of money, but they're helping a lot of people, so they were communicating that with us. So overall, it's a pretty good meeting. So one program they did tell me that I was telling Jeff about is I guess that they'll go in and do an energy audit for a house, and they'll insulate it, no cost. So they forwarded us that information so we can start getting, because we knew some customers that might be able to utilize that. So So it was good. But not much there. If you guys have any questions?
We got questions for Tony? Yeah, first thing, started working on the budget on the end. Every time I look at your sheet, you're working on the budget.
Something.
There's always some budget on there. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Jeff, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. I do have one action item this morning. It's a water purchase contract with Consolidated Public Water Supply, District Number 2, from Lafayette, Johnson, and Saline. Their current contract expires in 2026, and they've got some projects they're seeking financing from USDA. Obviously, if you're going to have financing, USDA would like to make sure they have water supply to cover that, the term of that financing. So I work with their staff, Josh Taylor, to kind of update this. There weren't a lot of changes made. We did add a dispute resolution clause and a non-disparagement clause, just to kind of cover some issues we've had in the past. Both sides are in agreement. Their board has already signed. They had a meeting last week. We'd kind of like to move this forward so they can get going with their project. So if the board approves this, I would like to ask for 2 readings at the council meeting. I think JD shared that with the mayor, so.
That'll be no problem.
Okay, yeah, appreciate it, Dennis, thank you. So this is, both sides agree on it. We did increase their daily delivery, just a small amount. We had 3 years worth of water usage records. They had requested more, but based on our review of the records, I think we were comfortable with a much smaller increase. You know, when I proposed that, they were happy. So, the monthly limit maximum is the same as it was prior.
Well, they were really never anywhere close to it, were they?
Yeah, they were.
They did exceed their daily limits several times. I think twice in that period. Once was before Winter Storm Uri. They wanted to fill all their, them and their because they supply water to other entities as well. Wanted to fill the water storage up, so they did exceed it that day. And I think what they were sizing the request on was their pump size. Our pump's this big and deliver this much. I wasn't comfortable doing that. We don't just want to raise it to something that doesn't need to be. Our water plant is first and foremost for our community here. So I think we'll have a little bit better idea of what that actual capacity is and some numbers after we finish this study. But I think this should work for a while. I think the addendum to increase, so we typically with these contracts, we've had addendums, because they're typically long-term, to increase the amounts of water or the area served. I think the last addendum to this one was in 2000. So this should cover the biggest part of that 35 years. If there's a need to increase it, and we have the capacity to do it.
This contract would not become effective until the current contract expires.
No, it's written in here, this will replace.
This will replace?
Yeah, if you look
Okay.
if you look at the end, there's a effective date and revocation of prior contracts. So this would actually go into effect once approved,
Okay.
signed by the mayor.
Okay.
And then this would be the contract moving
Okay.
forward.
So the existing contract was 35 years, which it went to 26.
Yeah, and this would be 35 years.
This goes 35.
Right.
Okay.
We like to keep all our contracts consistent with all the districts.
Any idea how come Johnson County was put on there?
Well, that's their name. I mean,
That's their.
they serve Johnson County.
Okay.
It does run over the little into Johnson County.
It's a big district. Yeah.
They're at Higginsville Junction. And maybe a little bit back east of there.
We don't service Johnson County, but they do?
Correct.
Yeah,
They
okay.
have multiple, they don't own any water treatment facilities, but they have multiple suppliers. We just happen to fill the eastern half of their territory. The western half, I don't think they get water from Lexington. I don't know who their,
I'm sorry.
I don't know who their other supplier is, but, so that's, their actual name includes Johnson County.
Yeah, uh-huh.
That's who our contract's with, even though there's no Johnson County area in the contract.
We service, okay. All right. And as far as their expansion, do you have any feel for when they think that might happen?
They haven't pointed to anything specifically. I mean, I think they anticipate some growth, but, you know, I don't think they have pointed to anything specific that was gonna cause that.
Okay.
So, I think it was more of just in general, you know, we all hope to see growth of some kind, but nothing specific is good.
I make a motion to request the city council authorize the mayor to sign the water purchase contract with Consolidated Water District number 2 of Lafayette, Johnson, and Saline counties.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to request the city council authorize the mayor to sign the water purchase contracts with Consolidated Water Supply District number 2 of Lafayette, Johnson, and Saline counties. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Still working on peer review summary. I don't know if Chuck wants to talk about it. We did meet with the mayor, budget committee earlier this week, and we're going to work on some things to kind of maybe find some middle ground where we can, you know, help with reduced city rate for some facilities and you know, some other facilities. You know, they've got a tough budget over there. I think public safety is one of those, you know, where they struggle probably as much as anywhere. But, certainly, it was nice to go over there and have that conversation, and I think we can work hopefully towards something that's good for, you know, the city and utilities and you know, the community as a whole. So.
Their ask was that we put together a proposal as that might work, you know, how we might be able to provide, you know, either reduce utilities or cost, or you know, and how it might be phased in, where it doesn't hit someone's budget just all at once. So I think Tony was gonna look at a proposal, and then, you know, once we get a chance to review that, then we'll visit with the city.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good meeting.
Yeah.
Very good communication, and I think everybody understands where everybody's, you know, all the issues and challenges we both have, and it's just nice to sit down and kind of work together on
Do we have some kind of special session so we can put something together?
it. We've got till the first of the year. I think
I
probably.
think I was gonna try to work on some kind of base thing and bring it back to you guys to kind of
Yeah.
look at, discuss.
I think at that point, it would be a good opportunity, maybe we have a work session.
It might be,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to, if we can get something put together, even a work session with some council.
No, I think that'd be appropriate.
Yeah.
Tony's kind of focusing on the budget now, so it may be, I'm glad they said first of the year.
Calendar year.
Yeah, calendar year, not budget year, so. Yeah, we'll work in that direction. I think we can come up with something that works for everybody. But yeah, we'll get that to you guys, here in the next 3 or 4 months probably. Put a little bit of update there on MSDC, just kind of trying to keep you guys in the loop there. There was a lot that sold in the industrial park. It's going to be home to a new Napa Auto Parts hub with some retail. Just, it's been a while since the utilities funded that infrastructure. Just want to make, there's when that property sells, the infrastructure investment in that sale is refunded to MMU, so we did get some income. And that $13,986 is divided up between the water, sewer, and electric. I think we received that payment.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I know it's
Sure.
been authorized to pay from MSDC, so there's one 12-acre lot left out there. And, it's a pretty good lot, so hopefully we can get, we've got one lot left to work with. So, we do have our planning meeting next month, kind of hoping to formalize a master plan that kind of focuses on those 4 areas I've named there. WSKF Architect project. There was kind of a hold up there on whether or not to consider the steamboat. The steamboats have been talked about for years, and I think we finally determined, they're not, we don't have a commitment. It's non-committal, so we're moving forward with that study. It doesn't include the steamboat. So, that'd be a good addition down there, but, you can't wait forever. At some point, you gotta move forward. So, as soon as that gets done, that'll give MSDC a marketing tool to kind of help develop that area, which will be good. So, did have, kind of switching the time of use here a little bit, I don't know if you guys saw Kansas City Power Lights had a half-page ad with Democrat News on the back. They are going to make time of use rates for residential customers mandatory starting October 1st. They've got 4 plans to choose from. We're not going to go that far. When we roll our program out, it's going to be optional. So we had a Teams meeting yesterday. Doug and I did with Fletcher Reinhardt on meter programming. We're probably going to pretty shortly set up a dummy or test meter to make sure it works with our billing. We got to work through, with the net metering customers. Still waiting on NPUA for some customer education materials. I think Connie's getting pretty close. We should be getting some of that there. So I'd like to get this test going and kind of lay out a schedule of the rollout of this. I think all kind of puzzle pieces are starting to fall in a little bit. TOES won't be done until October probably, so that'll be the last piece. But we can go ahead and set up some test meters, and I think I don't see what is going to come out in October changing a whole lot from what we've got now. It'll change some, but getting closer on that. I think Tony looked at some of the rates on KCPL's time of use plan. They're pretty high.
I think one of them, the peak was 32 cents. So, and another one, it was 28 cents. There's all those plans. It's kind of cumbersome to go through it.
Yeah, theirs is pretty complicated. We don't want to make it complicated. We want to keep it, it's going to be hard for the customer to take advantage of something that's hard to understand. So we want to keep it, as simple as possible. And I think our peak rate right now is just a shade under 13 cents, so that's a 20-cent difference. Our off peaks are 7 cents. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this going. I think it's going to provide some people a lot of benefit. I think eventually that's probably we're going to go. That's just the way the industry's going, because everybody buys power off the market. It's all bought and sold there, and if you can tie price into the market, get away from those high price times, it's definitely beneficial.
So maybe the city can expand the city limits and pick up a bunch of new customers.
We might be getting some phone calls.
We're thinking of taking in the Missouri River, the whole thing.
Okay.
Put some hydro in, give Jared some more generation. But, yeah, we're moving forward there. I think Jay pretty much had the program done. But yeah, we'll start kicking the tires on that here pretty quick. Not too much else to add. Oh, we got our smoke testing kickoff meeting is next Thursday. Anne Marie from the city's reached out. I think she would like to, kind of assist us in publicizing that, some outreach. So, which the kickoff meeting is really going to talk about customer notification and go through that. And I think we'll work with the city to kind of help with that process. It's going to be, the fire chief was there at our meeting. And, I'm sure he, no matter how hard we try to let everybody know, his phone's probably going to rip. So, but we'll do as much as we can to minimize that. But, we're going to kick that project off next week. The ground is certainly dry enough right now to run that kind of project.
Show up.
Yeah. It'll be pretty interesting to see what we find.
What was the update on the street lighting policy to address?
I'm probably gonna bring that for board approval at the next meeting. Yeah, we still had in our street lighting policy, high pressure sodium lights. So Doug and I have reviewed that, made all the changes to cover the switch to LEDs. We'll bring that to the board for the next meeting to approve
We're
it.
pretty much fully switched over now. Still got some hanging on.
There's very few area lights.
11. I just reviewed his annual department report, the numbers in there. That'll probably be in your next packet as well. So, yeah, it's just, I was going through policies and ran into that and I thought, oh, we probably should fix that. So, yeah, I wouldn't.
I just didn't know something happened and we had to.
No, we run across it and it wasn't up to date. We need to bring it up to date. So, if you don't kind of keep those corralled, if you're going, you end up with a pile that
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. Move on to cash disbursements.
Is the dump truck in here, Tony?
It is.
And the concrete saw?
The concrete saw, I don't think.
I saw an item, I thought maybe it was the concrete saw.
I saw the dump truck, and then I think the bigger items, I think Doug had some transformers that we ordered a year ago, when came in, and then I think Jim had mentioned the conduit. Well, let me go back to the back there. I can tell you.
Power operated equipment, $34,615.
that would be the saw.
That's probably it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's- I thought that was- And then on the dump truck, have we been reimbursed?
Yes, we've been reimbursed.
We've had that for some
Quite a
time.
while back.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
been reimbursed for everything. I did close out 2 projects and we're waiting on the delivery of the second truck to close that project out.
Yeah, okay.
Steve's been emailing me, so right now I've already filed 1 extension for that. I think the deadline's August 31st. And I'm hopeful we'll get the second one before then, but if not, I'll have to file another extension. But once we get that, there's a form to fill out, and then we'll be completed on all the flood damage from FEMA. But yeah, we got reimbursed on the front end for quite a bit of that stuff. And it was, it was a process, but I have to admit, they were pretty good to work with, get through that process.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the disbursements as presented. Second.
Motion and second to approve cash disbursements. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose same sign, motion carries. Any other business?
Just, Unit 6, just keep us informed.
Absolutely. Yep.
If you don't mind.
Jared and I had our way, it would be running tonight, or it would be fixed. So, but no, I'll certainly keep you guys in the loop there for the next meeting.
June 29th.
13th.
Yeah, July 13th.
July 13th.
There's some stuff in there if you guys just like to, that's, that's certainly up to you.
Just gonna adjourn into executive session. Entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session.
That would be
Legal?
concerning legal, I believe, yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second, adjourn into executive session for legal.
Ken Bryant, yes.
Chuck Hines, yes.
Spencer Fricky, yes.
Steve Mills, yes.